So this is Baruch Fleischman here. I am at the Tikkun elevator call-out, and we're going to learn, finally get the chance to look at the Zohar. The subject of really still to do is dealing with Pesach, Parshas Bo. So we're on page Shin Ayin Ches in the Matat Medevash on Parshas Bo, and as we've been doing, we're going to read across the top and just learn the Aramaic of Rebbe Shimon. Then we'll come back and we'll look at the Matat Medevash and try to pick up the pieces that are in between. So the Zohar says like this: V'avar Hashem then Gotas Mitzrayim. Hashem passed through to smite the Egyptians. Tana. So we've learned. Amar Rebbe YOSE. Rebbe YOSE says, "Hi Kol Kasha. This posuk is a problem. So let's say what did we say? He said that he saw the blood, and then after that he passed over. The mashpel the simon the ovid. It's a sign that there's some there. It's showing that there's a sign here. That's what he's doing. That's what we did. We take the begin done with the Yehu mitzvah. So let's say that it's because of the blood that represents a mitzvah. A mile bar. Why put it on the outside of the house? The Tlas dukti the pischa. Not only that, but it's in 3 different places on the door. That it's written like this. Who gale amikon says that it is, as the pasuk in the Nil, that Hashem knows the depths, He knows the hidden parts. My time of boil his gal yidom. So why do we have to show? That's what he's saying. He says, why do we have to show the blood? Does Hashem know? Why does it have to be ala mashko? The door on the lintel. The zuzas on the door posts. So why? El Tana said, but what it is really is written like this. V'yarach Hashem v'yanot. Hashem saw, and he was angry. It's written like this. V'yarach Hashem ki rabba ra'asa adar ba'aretz. Another one that Hashem saw. This is the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is really a question, but the name Yud Kei Vav Kei means Rachamim. So it's him, it's striking. So V'yarach Hashem ki rabba ra'asa adar ba'aretz is multiply the evil that men do in the world. Usanina that we learn like this, lo yischazi ashkachusa d'la'ela. This is what they said. We learn like this, that the ashkachusa d'la'ela does not appear. Elakav yischazi d'sata rabada. Only that, in other words, what we get, the brachos that we get, only happen as a result of things we do down below. It's a vida rabada b'nei. And actually that we actually carry out and do it. But this is made up below Mashgichin La'Avasha Bar Baharku of the Vodazar. That Hashem does not want to turn away from anything, any person, except for people that are involved in idolatry. So guard yourselves. He's warning us. Pan that you open up your mouth or your heart. That means to Vodazar. Because whatever you do down below in this world, it opens up or it affects the paths from up above. But again, the koch, and for this reason, kula bein the tava bein the bish, that whether it's going to be something good you can do, something bad you do, but milsa, everything depends on what you actually do. So let's see, this is a little broken up, and I'm not going to read the part in the middle, I'm just going to read the bold print. On the Rebbe YOSE, Rebbe YOSE says like this. All of the shuk, all of the marketplace, every place where people shop was full of avodah zarah, tavavim, the titles. And there were all different kinds of statues and different kinds of witchcraft and things like that were there. The meskatre b'char that they used in order to, this is the important part about witchcraft to understand, that it's for an evil purpose. The miskatre b'char that they cause criticism, or what's a better word, a stronger word than criticism, accusation. They make accusations with their witchcraft. The inin kisri the toin to the satan. I have to learn what this means. He said, on those crowns that are down below, to the satan that are coming down. When he awakens, all of this is what's going on in Mitzrayim all the time. They're raking filth with the Bible, a ruach of filth, of tumah with the Bible. Raws of the middle Thomas. So we learned about this. This is something we talk about. Consider Lakachtem Agudas Ezu. So here's another secret. What this means? Because it says that you take for yourself a bundle of hyssop, and then you take the blood, which is in the pail, that you bring it to the door, to the lintel, and the two doorposts. Agudas Ezev Lama. So he said, the question is, what do you need a bunch of Ezev for? What do you need this hyssop? And the reason why is because it has the ability to be able to remove the ruach of Tumah that's amongst them. Because we live, just like we live now, amidst the Gentiles. So they should be seen at their doors. Now here's another phrase. What do you see there? On these three places, you see the upper faith, the complete faith of the Jewish people. We have no idea what's ahead for us, but we know that we've been told to do this, we do it. There was one on the right side, one on the left side, and then one in the middle. The begin kachu pasuk Hashem ala Pesach, and that's the reason why Hashem passed over our doors. And he didn't allow the destroying angels to come and destroy our houses. Because they saw the holy name that was impressed on our doorposts with blood. Now we're going to look over here. We're going to look at the Matok Midrash. See if I can get a better focus. There we go. Looks better. Here we are down here. Hashem then goes to Mitzrayim v'ra es Adam al hamashkos, and he sees the blood that's on the lintel al shtei mezuzos on the two doorposts. Pasach Hashem al Pasach Hashem, and then Hashem skipped over that. Tana. He says, Rabbi YOSE Hai Kral Kasher, he said this is a problem. Pasach Zeh Kasher, it's hard to understand it. He raw as a dan ba'achakach pasach. So just by seeing blood, period. V'ki HaKadosh Baruch Hu Chayitzark, the rose of the dan. Kodesh Baruch had to see the blood. Kedei lipsoach al piskei b'nei al piskei lipsoach, to skip over the doors of the Jews. The mashma the simano hu the ovid. There should pasach zecha b'mashma HaKadosh Baruch Hu also siman lahafki bein Pesach shal Yisrael the bein Pesach shal Mitzrayim. Adam. He says that this would mean that it implies that the Kodesh Baruch Hu used the blood as a sign they should skip that house. Does that Tema? This is a question to Tema Gedai. This is a big question. Lomar Kodesh Baruch Hu start with Simon. You're trying to tell me he needs a sign? Hashem needs a sign? So if you say it like that, maybe you can answer it this way. So you want to say the Torah's answer like this. Where you see that the Kodesh Baruch skipped over the doors of the Jews. How you begin the mitzvah? It's because of the mitzvah, the b'schus hadam shenasto al Pesach mitzvah, which is the mitzvah. He said, but that's a kasha because we did a mitzvah. In other words, we did something, and that caused us to be seen. But then there's another problem. Am I the buyer? Why should it be on the outside of the house? If we're doing a mitzvah, you could do it any place. And then why does it have to be in three different places on the door? And also why on these three places on the door? Which is mashma that, let's say you put it in three places, so if he misses one, he'll see one of the other ones. So this is actually a pasuk in Daniel that I guess we're going to see it in a minute. He says Mistarta Yada, and from the secret things he knows, Hashem knows what's in the dark. You can put it, this blood, you can put it in the closet, close the door. Right? Because light, Hashem is light. So if he needs to see something, he lights up the darkest place. The Hawk is written like this, I just read that. Ki Pirish HaKodesh Baruch Hu Megala Devarim HaMukah, that Hashem reveals things which are very deep, the Bistarim and hidden. The Yodei Ma B'Choshek, he knows what's in the darkness. The Ha'orech HaShukevesimo, and light lives with Hashem. It all emanates from Him. Hari Kol Gol the Father Baruch. So everything we see is revealed before Him. He says, in my time, the boy is Gali Dema al Mashka. So then that's the next one. What do you need to replace it? Ma time Hoyitzark, she is Galach Adam Dafka al Mashka of Shtechel Mesuzah. So just pour it on the ground right in front. Why do you have to put it on those three places? Al Tana, but we learn like this. Kik Siv V'yar Hashem V'yinoy. Hashem saw something. There's a pasuk in Devarim. Hashem saw, that is Hashem, V'yinoy, so he was angry. Makas Banam Uvenois. So he became angry because of what we were doing. Pirish, Amashara as Maisa HaRasha Asa Yisrael Oz V'yinoy. In that pasuk, you look at that pasuk, and he saw the behavior and where we behaved, he became angry. The Gesech of B'derek HaMabel and B'dor HaMabel, so it's written like this in regards to the generation to flow. V'yar Hashem ki Rabba Ra'as Ada Ba'ar, that Hashem saw that it had been multiplying the evil of people in the land. V'achkach v'yomer Hashem Enche es Adam. And then we see that Hashem says that I'm going to wipe them out. I'm going to erase people. The humanity. L'sminen, and we also learn like this. Lo is chazi ashkachusa de the The eshkachusha de the is only appears ela kad is chazi de tata avoda. Only when there is some avoided down below that brings down the shefa. Now the shefa could be bad shefa too. Because their anpen has two different sides. It's a sign of chesed. It's a sign of din, punishment. We tried to balance it in the middle one. So l'meinu ki af al pi sha'kodesh baruch hu mashgiach al kol rega al kol rega al bnei adam. Even though Hashem is involved in every single moment of our lives, in kol zeh v'nires hashgachasu shal ma'ala shemesh sheb'shalom l'shachar v'onesh. So he says, but even so, that Hashem is part of everything that we do. And when we're doing things that are either good or bad, in Kol Zeh, with all of this, lo niris hashkachasa, you can't see what he's actually doing, how he's working, shal ma'ala, shemashalem, that he pays sachar, the onish, for in other words, he rewards and punishes. Ela nira lemata mais. It only appears when you see that there's some action down below that is consistently going on, which is either good or bad. That's when you see the payoff. Behind it is a vida rabodaminei. So they had a mitzvah, you did something, you did the mitzvah, you didn't just think about it, you did it, or chas v'shalom, the opposite. That you actually carried out something bad. But if you're just talking about the thoughts of a man by himself, because you still see that the person haven't received any reward or punishment, get cold, taller than because everything that you don't see, everything depends on what's going on everywhere. Now, the topic that we started talking about, right, remember, is putting the blood on the doorposts. Right? And on the lintel. So let's go on. So they're on this. It's a Gemara in the Sefton Kedushin. He says, "Ki lo mashgichan la'avasher bar hir kuria b'lizar." So it means basically, she'ein mashgichan la'anish. Hashem doesn't, who is the care of everything. He's not looking to punish the Adam al machshava raw, because you thought, well, it's going to do something bad. This is a hirhuri roy. Rakim harker the abod zara. So he says Hashem can overlook all the bad thoughts we may have in the wrong direction, hirhuri roy, except for one, which is abod zara. Shehi mitzvah emunah hataluya b'machshava. Shehi ikra hakol, because he wants to say that this is a thought that really runs to erase and to enter light into blackness. Shuhi ikra kol, that's the root of everything. So guard yourself so that your heart should not be turned. So then you come and you'll turn and you'll start serving other gods. And this will kindle the anger of Hashem. So, but let's say other thoughts that you have. Yeah, it's talking about sexual thoughts and things you shouldn't have. This is not considered to be an abomination. Because the onish itself has to be based on an action. And so an abomination is not a maisa. If the avon is the avon, that is the sin, this is the sin of thought, has to have something done. Avoda Zohar. Under this aved avoda ashkachusu to the edel isai. This is a general rule. Whatever we are doing, I'm not saying that we are puppets, but is that we are completely and totally connected to a spiritual world that's beyond us. When I lift my right thumb, it's having an effect on the right thumb of Eric Anpin somehow. Of again, in this reason, kula bein the tava bein the bish, bo the tal yamils. So therefore, we see like this. The principle he wants to tell us is that everything depends on our actions and what we do. So therefore, whether it's something good or something bad, everything really depends on what you're doing. Because when you do something bad, something physical bad in this world, then comes down the Ashgacha al-Yoda, which is the left line of Zer Anpin. If you listen to the Shiurim on the Sifra Disnyota and the Idrus, the left line of Zer Anpin comes down. The Anish Pula comes down and it punishes. But in the same time, that you did a mitzvah, or you thought a higher level of Torah thought. Think about this Zohar when you get done. That's great thinking. To say that Hashgacha will bring you Sachar, will bring you a reward. So therefore, this action that we're talking about, that Hashem tells us that we should put the blood on the lintel, on the doorpost. This is something that you absolutely had to do at that time. Because its secret is that you're revealing to HaKodesh Baruch Hu, that Hashem, who is in our midst always, you're turning yourself and you're recognizing Him. Hashgacha the Taiva, which would be Hashgacha from the right line, the line of giving, the line of kindness, the line of mercy. So let's look just a little bit more and try to move it along. So we're down here as Amar Rebbe YOSE. So now you said all of this and everything really depends on the mindset. You still had that question, I still have that question, then why don't you do it in the closet? What's got to be on these three places? Im came the Elam so mitzvah. So im came. The secret here is hidden of this mitzvah. Nuchul lomer tam. So we need to come along and we need to say what's the reason for it. Kol shivakim Mitzrayim malyan tav. Now let's talk about what it was like to live in Mitzrayim. Remember that we're living in the midst. He said, "Kol shukim Mitzrayim koyam aleyan alilid." All of the stores, every place you walked in Mitzrayim was full of idols. Not only that, it was all different kinds of witchcraft. Everybody had in the Avodah Zarah. Have you ever heard been around Haitians? And they produce voodoo is called voodoo. And there's Santeria right here in South Florida. These are all actions, and he's going to explain what do they do? What does witchcraft do? The miskatre b'charshaychu, because they make accusations, they punish, they try to create forces that of din, being in kisra detoin to the sada. Now I have to find out what kisra, which means crowns, the lower crowns that are down below. Shahayim miskashem b'kashvehem. They were able to bind together by witchcraft, but osam aspiros of those spirits of tachtainus, Shala Klipos, with the lower spheres of Klipos. Now, understand, for every part of Kedusha, which is from the top of Kesser, all the way down to the bottom of Malchus, there's a Klipa on the other side that reflects it, which is false and reflects it. But when you get down to the bottom, then they're much more powerful, because this is the weakest place of the light of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. And he causes a Ruach HaTuma to come into all of these places where they exist. So therefore, what we did this is to remove that Ruach HaTuma, so be able to take it out, the power of them, or whatever they were able to do with their accusations, from the streets and the main streets and the shopping centers, the hoods, and from the houses, Shalom Shalot Tishlot Al Yisrael, so they should not have power over the Jews. Now here's the thing, we're living in the midst of, you can imagine what can happen, because it happens anywhere. This is that we're living in the midst of people who are using this filth of these accusatory filth of Avodah Zarah, and it's all around you. And what do? You take their god, one of their gods, which is the ram, and you shech their child, which is the lamb, and you spread its blood all over every place. This is a direct affront to those idols. So we learned the secret over here. Take a bunch of ezev, and then you dip it into the blood in the bucket. And you come over to the lintel, and the two doorposts. So then he says, and you put it on there. B'shoil, agudas ezev lama. But why hyssop? Why that? In order to be able to remove the spirit of Tuma from them. Because its special quality is it causes the hitzayin, which are false ideas, false illusion, life of illusion, which is mostly around us all the time. The life of illusion. It's able to make it run away. And also the heroes to be shown on their doors in these three places. As by putting the blood, they're showing their amunah, Hashalem, which is complete, because they're davuk with the name of Avaya. Now he's saying these are the facts of what it is. The question is still why? What does hyssop do for you? Chad chocha, so he's chad chocha, v'chad chocha, v'chad b'gavaychu. Echad mitzad yomim, and this is what he comes when it comes to the concept of three. Everyone that mean like this is that the real flow of goodness comes from the right side. Shu keneged the chesed, so os yud, which corresponds to chesed, which is the letter yud. V'echad mitzad small, and then you also smear it or sprinkle it or smear it, I think. Shu keneged hagavura, so os hey, which corresponds to gavura, which is on the left line, which is the letter hey. V'echad be'emsa, and then one in the middle, keneged the Tiferet, which is the os bo. The shloshtam ala Pesach, and all of them are on the door. What is a door? Shuhu keneged the malchus, which means malchus, the place you ultimately want to go into. This is the final hey. He sowed a achron. Hare, so he says like this: Nirshamo b'Pesach daled osius shem havaya david shem shaka. So he says, what you've done here, you've sprinkled on the door 4 different letters, which are Yud Kei Vav Kei, Doma, and it's similar to the name Shaka. Sheba mezuzah that you find in the mezuzah today, K'dei v'havriach as a mezikim, in order to scare away, or push away the mezikim, those damaging forces from the outside of the hitzam. Well, the fish Yahoya Kochos Haritzonim Rabim, and so since we had such a multiplicity of all of this filth that is around you everywhere, L'chein Na'aseh Roshem Shal Hashem Al Yedei Ha'ezah, so therefore you're putting the Yud-Kei Vav-Kei on the door. The Tosefes Tuv, to add goodness. Not only did you do the mitzvah, but you did the mitzvah in such a way. Now the word dam is also a special word, so we have to talk about this in another place. Maybe we will. Shigam hu mevayer es achitzoni, because it's also removing all of these false illusions. But again, kachem, for this reason, Pasach Hashem ala Pesach, Hashem skipped over our doors. Lo yiten hamashkis levara b'chabatechin go, and he didn't allow the mashkis to destroy. B'shum dechamish shma kedisha, because he saw the holy name there. Rashim al Pesach. V'isha ra es shemo hakodesh, which is Yud Kei Vav Kei. Rashim al Pesach, right line, left line. The lintel, which is in the middle, and ultimately the door, which is the door into Malchus. Yud Kei Vav Kei. According to his order, this Hashem Atzma, but this causes arousal of the name itself. Order Rachmim of Yisrael, which arouses Rachmim in the Jewish people, Melamala from up above. Lahatzilam, in order to save them. Shelo Yikrav Alechem Zar, so that no foreign thought should ever come into us. Ayideza Lo Yiten Hamashkis. Go. So therefore, there is no permission for the destroying angel to come and smite the Jews. This is Baruch Fleischman, the second day of the week. We're coming closer to Pesach, and I beg your patience, and I'm trying to get back to this